An update on the AEW future of the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega and CM Punk with their suspension still intact from All Elite Wrestling. Plus, Kenny Omega was scheduled to be at Triple Mania this past weekend, but did AEW's suspension prevent him from even sending in a promo for the show? We'll talk about that. Plus, an AEW documentary is being filmed by Warner Bros. Discovery. We've got details on that. Plus, we've also got more reactions to the recent backstage altercation between Andrade and Sammy Guevara. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling. And, you know, it's that time of the week again. We're going to talk about the suspended quartet. That is the Young Bucks, CM Punk, and Kenny Omega. Because we've got more details, more details saying actually there's no details regarding any update on their return to the company. Because the ongoing fallout from the AEW All Out Media Scrum continues to be felt by the company as they attempt to navigate the issues of the behavior of its employees. Now you have to remember, these are four of the top guys in the company, all on contracts that are in excess of $1 million. So you've got a huge amount of money being paid to people that can't even appear on television at the moment. Having already suspended CM Punk, the Young Bucks, Ace Steel, and Kenny Omega, whilst the investigation into that incident that took place on September 4, more details of the return of these valuable members of the All Elite Wrestling roster have been revealed. Dave Meltzer, of course, has got very close ties to AEW, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Tony Khan, and previously CM Punk. The Wrestling Observer has explained that there is still confusion over the whole entire affair, speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio. Meltzer said, quote, "People are sitting here every week. You've got people who think it's a work, but they're not told anything different because the company hasn't said anything." Now, said confusion isn't just felt by those outside of the situation, with Meltzer going on to state that, quote, "Nobody knows when they're coming back, including the people who are on suspension. Nobody knows anything of what's going on." Now, even with the recently thinly veiled reference to the entire situation by Hangman Adam Page on AEW Dynamite last week was met with criticism by Meltzer, who said, quote, "Adam Page made a reference, these guys are coming back this week, maybe it's a hint, but nobody knows." Now, the buck obviously stopped with Tony Khan, who could comment on the matter with the same volume that he speaks on many topics during his media appearances, but Meltzer has rightly stated, quote, "I mean, at some point it's ridiculous," and you know, right there, with regarding the Ariel Helwani interview, Tony Khan has the chance, he was asked, and he could have said something like, we don't know when we're going to bring them back, but it's like nothing. Now, with nobody talking and nothing but speculation as the result, it could be a perfect opportunity for Khan to regain ownership of the runaway train of gossip. However, it would appear that there is going to be no update. As I've said before, I think that's largely due to legal reasons, and I think it's also due to advice from AEW's legal department saying, Khan, don't talk on the matter, don't say anything. And I would also think it's the same thing to those involved, those that have been suspended. They've probably also been warned, if you say something, this could probably jeopardize you in a future lawsuit. It feels like this is where it's going to go. Now, when it comes to Kenny Omega, of course, one of the suspended parties involved here, he was at one point scheduled, or thought to be scheduled, for AAA Triple Mania this past weekend. Now, at Triple Mania, Conan had a very busy night. Not only was he attacked by the Vipers, but he would later come back to get his revenge. He also confirmed that he was the new head of talent relations for AAA Lucha Libre, and there is one specific talent he wanted to be involved in the event that couldn't be because of legal issues. Conan revealed that he wanted Kenny Omega to be part of the show by sending in a vignette directed at the winner of the Mega Championship match between Rey Fenix and El Hijo del Vikingo, but unfortunately he was not able to because of the legal situation he is currently facing following the backstage altercation at All Out between the Elites CM Punk and Ace Steel. Now, Conan revealed while talking about Tony Khan's interview with Ariel Helwani during a recent episode of his podcast K100 that he had asked can he personally send in the footage, and Kenny told him that he was unable to. He said, quote, "I don't think it does any good for you to go out there and say no comment, and I know there are some legal issues because I actually asked Kenny Omega if he could send me a video for Triple Mania, whoever wins between Vikingo and Phoenix, because, you know, that he's the number one contender, and he goes, I still can't because of legal issues. So there is something legal going on." Now, of course, Omega is a former AAA Mega Champion. He won the championship from Rey Fenix in October 2019, all those years ago. He was even accompanied by Conan during his match at Triple Mania previously against Andrade El Idolo. Omega eventually vacated the title in November 2021 due to the fact he was battling multiple injuries. Of course, that title was later picked up by Vikingo on December 4 at AAA Triple Mania Regia 2. And I guess the assumption would be that Omega would eventually face the winner. So the update really is here, and I know this isn't really the update probably people want to hear, but that the stalemate continues. And these guys can't do anything. Specifically, the guys that are fit and healthy to return right now, which are the Young Bucks, which are Kenny Omega, the guys that, if their suspensions were lifted, they could appear on Dynamite tomorrow, Tuesday night. Of course, it's a Tuesday night Dynamite, but that's not going to happen. And as I've stated several times when we've spoken about this issue here on the channel, guys, is that I don't expect to see Kenny Omega or the Young Bucks inside of an AEW ring at any point this year. We're over halfway through October at this point, so we've got 2.5 months left of the year, and I don't expect to see Omega or the Bucks appear on Dynamite or Rampage or any show for that matter. I think now what we're in the crux of is what could be quite a serious legal situation. Not obviously not criminal, but certainly when it comes to a civil suit, or certainly litigation, or certainly CM Punk or someone else suing the company. Because what we're seeing right now, I think, is everyone being frozen in place because of these legal issues. CM Punk, of course, can't wrestle. CM Punk is out of action for roughly 9 months because he tore his triceps at the main event of All Out. Were CM Punk to still be able to wrestle, it might be somewhat of a different situation. I could certainly see a situation where CM Punk's like, you know what? I can't wrestle. I'm suspended, but these guys shouldn't be able to as well. These guys shouldn't be able to go out there and make money because they screwed me over. I don't know. I don't know. And again, we don't know that CM Punk is this uncooperative party that's threatening legal action. It would make somewhat of sense. And again, some aspects of the situation we still don't know. This investigation is still ongoing. We don't actually truly know what role CM Punk had in the company. Tony Khan somewhat hinted that CM Punk could have had or still does have an office role in AEW. He threw him into the same conversation as the EVPs in the company. If CM Punk's an employee of All Elite Wrestling, it could change things dramatically, because then it becomes not just a case of getting rid of an independent contractor. Getting rid of an employee, you have to go through legal tribunals, you have to go through all the different navigations of employment law. You have to go through a lot of different avenues if that is the case. And again, if that is the case, it changes things dramatically. And if Punk's threatening All Elite Wrestling or Tony Khan or the Young Bucks or Kenny Omega, saying he's going to sue them, then suddenly the entire company gets opened up. And that can get really, really messy, not just from a legal situation, but from a public relations situation. You think if things are opened up and revealed through deposition or through whatever, then there could be some aspects of AEW or Tony Khan or Kenny Omega or the Young Bucks made public that they really don't want to. And I would assume everyone involved is thinking, this could end badly. And from Tony Khan's perspective, I know he's got a lot of money, but this is costing AEW a huge amount of money, a massive amount of money. This is enough to, AEW was slightly in the red in terms of their financials. That was because of the video game development. That was because of the amount of money Tony Khan was putting into the video game. Apart from that, AEW is profitable. That's because of the television deal they have. But when you've got people under contract, as I mentioned, every single person on the screen right now, except myself, is on a contract that's $1 million or more. So you then have a situation whereby at minimum, $4 million is not being utilized or is being just thrown away, is being paid to these people that can't appear on television. That's a huge investment that AEW is not reaping the rewards of. And again, and then on top of that, you're talking about lawsuits, you're talking about lawyers, and possibly, depending on the outcome, even more, a loss of money. This could be a massive drain on AEW financially. So it continues to be a really messy situation. It continues to be a situation that clearly is getting nowhere near to being resolved. I think the ultimate ending is that obviously Omega and the Bucks remain with the company. CM Punk leaves, he gets a buyout of his contract, or he gets the full payment of his contract, which again is a lot of money, without AEW reaping the rewards of television deals or pay-per-views or merchandise or whatever. So it's really complicated what's going on right now with AEW, and I think their lawyers have told everyone involved, don't say anything, because if you say something, it could hurt us if this goes to court, which likely it probably will. And that's the situation right now. And again, I don't see it being resolved for a really long time. Now, speaking of AEW and their TV deals, of course, they're with Warner Bros. Discovery, TBS, TNT. And there's an update on an upcoming AEW documentary with Warner Bros. Discovery. Now, this comes from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, of course, their Patreon service. Be sure to check that out and subscribe. They do excellent work. And things are still looking good for AEW and Warner Bros. Discovery. AEW talent and staff were informed this past week that AEW is set to produce a documentary show that will focus on the behind-the-scenes aspect of a group of All Elite Wrestling talent. Now, Fightful have been told that talent were given the option to not be involved in the documentary. Filming is set to start in November at the Baltimore AEW Dynamite taping and run 6 weeks through the AEW tapings at Garland, Texas on December 14th. Now, Tony Khan will serve as an executive producer on the show, with Sam Burns, executive producer of Shed Media, helping out as well. The production is in collaboration with both Shed Media and Warner Bros. Discovery, the latter of which airs AEW Dynamite and Rampage weekly. Now, those that Fightful spoke to say the show will air at some point in 2023. Now, it must be said, there aren't a ton of details there. We just know it's going to be a documentary filmed behind the scenes at AEW. They're going to do 6 weeks of filming, and it's going to air at some point in 2023. This, to me, you could argue, I mean, where would this sit? Could it be on TBS? Could it be on TNT? Could it be on HBO Max, if HBO Max is a thing? I don't even know what the status is of HBO Max at this point, because didn't they cancel it? You can let me know in the comment section below, because we don't even get, over here in the UK, we don't get HBO Max. Oh, I think we didn't? I don't know. There are so many streaming services right now, and then some of them are dropping like flies. It's just that whole thing is a mess. But I do think this is another positive sign for AEW and the relationship with Warner Bros. Discovery. I know some people don't even get me started on tribalism on social media, or just at the moment with pro wrestling, with AEW fans and WWE fans. It's ridiculous. But I think this is a positive sign for AEW, because in my opinion, I know that Warner Bros. Discovery are struggling a lot at the moment. Their share price has plummeted since the merger because of the bad decisions that their CEO made. But I do think this is a positive sign, in addition to the other recent positive signs, that AEW is going to get picked up once again by Warner Bros. I have no doubts about that. I would be stunned if Warner Bros. Discovery at the very least didn't make AEW an offer for them to remain on TBS and TNT. The only reason I see Warner Bros. Discovery and AEW not continuing their relationship, well, actually there's two. One, Warner Bros. Discovery starts to, what's going bad or wrong for the moment continues to go even worse, or even more terribly for them in terms of their stock price, and they just run out of money. But I don't see that. Warner Bros. Discovery isn't going to run out of money or anything like that, so I don't see that being the case. The only other reason that their relationship might not continue is that it would be smart for AEW to negotiate with other parties. See what's out there. There might be, there very well might be another cable network or another company out there that offers AEW a lot more money, and if that is the case, AEW would be silly not to take it. There could absolutely be a situation where a Netflix or an Amazon Prime or whoever, or even a Disney Plus, you never know, reaches out to a wrestling company like AEW, like WWE for that matter too, and says, you know what, we want to bring live pro wrestling, live sport to our streaming service. And that's a real possibility, because we've seen these streaming services start to pay more attention to live sports. Of course, Amazon Prime's got the NFL. In addition to that, it's also got Premier League football over here in the UK too. And we've heard rumors about Netflix wanting to get involved with live sport. Disney most likely will want to do the same as well at some point. So don't rule it out. And again, whilst I expect Warner Bros. Discovery and AEW to maintain their relationship, I expect Dynamite to remain on TBS and Rampage to remain on TNT, and then to expand their relationship, because as their chief, I think it was marketing officer, said recently that AEW is something that draws very well for them. It's relatively low in terms of a cost to produce as well. So I think they'll be happy. I think they'll be happy with that, and I think they'll pay what AEW wants for them to remain with their company. So I don't expect there to be any issues when it comes to that. Finally, we have an update when it comes to Sammy Guevara and Andrade, reactions to their recent backstage skirmish. Andrade and Sammy Guevara had a backstage altercation ahead of the October 5 episode of AEW Dynamite. The confrontation came about after the pair took shots at each other in interviews and on social media in the days leading up to the show, with Guevara supposedly unhappy about Andrade working stiff in his matches. Now, according to Fightful, sources within AEW revealed that Andrade and Guevara had a verbal altercation that eventually turned physical. Details surrounding the events remain fairly murky at this point, but their exchange has caused some upset behind the scenes in the promotion. One source told Fightful that the pair portrayed the business in a bad light, and their verbal exchanges probably weren't part of a storyline. They were talking about hitting each other hard and complaining, so if it's a work, it's a bad one. I'm sure they'll eventually have a match though, just because people are talking, end quotes. Another source said they were unhappy with the way things unfolded between Guevara and Andrade. The unnamed talent told Fightful their actions painted AEW's locker room in a negative light, which of course is unfortunate, as the behind-the-scenes environment has reportedly been positive following the backstage brawl, the one we just spoken about, at All Out. Now, elsewhere, an AEW original told Fightful that Guevara and Andrade's actions were disrespectful towards Bryan Danielson, Chris Jericho, and Jon Moxley. Of course, the trio had recently captained a meeting that's been credited for boosting backstage morale following All Out, and one of the company's goals since then has been to keep backstage drama private, which of course this did not do. Of course, some AEW employees didn't react negatively at all. According to Fightful, some source claimed that they weren't paying any attention to the drama, while also noting that the locker room has been cohesive in recent weeks. So, again, a bit more of an update on that. We haven't seen Andrade since. Andrade wants to be let go by AEW. AEW, I don't think, is going to do that unless he continues to push. And even if he does, he won't go back to WWE, because I think Tony Khan, whilst he doesn't want to release people, is going to do it on a case-by-case basis. And I think that case-by-case basis is going to involve him saying, okay, if you want to go, it's got to be a conditional release. I'm not going to let you go to the competitor and make money. That's bad business. So that's kind of the latest when it comes to that one. But there you go, guys. That's the latest AEW news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts on today's AEW news stories in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.